y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, y'all please do, because we would love to have y'all. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing intro music. We really appreciate that a lot, okay? You guys, please follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You can find me, the Cryptid Huntress, at my website, thecryptidhuntress.com, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress. Okay, you guys. Visit my shop. It's called War Woman Goods. You can find that on Etsy and on my website. I have a fantastic guest here at Spaced Out Radio tonight. I have Jesus Payan in the studio. All right. Don't forget that right after our show, After Hours has a great program set up for y'all. So let's get to our guest. Jesus Payan Jr. is an actor who plays Gonzo in the hit series Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, along with numerous other movies. He's also a longtime Sasquatch researcher on a lifelong, spit it out, quest to find and understand the reality of this mysterious creature. He was chosen as one of the field researchers for the Falcon Project and was featured on Finding Bigfoot on their Four Corners episode on the Upper Fruitland Navajo Reservation, where Jesus Jr. threw the first Bigfoot Conference ever on that reservation. He was part of the Cryptid Hominid Genome Project, and he's been face-to-face with the Sasquatch within 10 feet of him and has had various other sightings. He's been researching Sasquatch for about 33 years, and let me tell y'all, he has seen way more than just Sasquatch. He's had a lot of paranormal experiences. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So I want you guys to help me welcome to the show, Mr. Jesus Payan. Hello.
Howdy.
Hey, thank you so much for being here with me tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jesus, you've had a lot of experience with Bigfoot, and it had to start somewhere. When did you get interested in Sasquatch? Was it when you were a kid?
It was definitely when I was a kid, and I was about 4 years old, and my mom had a book. We were living in England, and it was called Mysterious World by Arthur C. Clarke, and I started reading it, and there was a section on Bigfoot. You know?
Oh yeah.
That was the first time it entered my life, and it was super interesting. Excuse me. And not until I was maybe fifth grade-ish, when we had the Scholastic book sale fairs.
The book fair. That was the big deal.
So anything that was paranormal, Bigfoot, UFO stuff, whatever, I would always order what they had. And not until up until the year 2000, it's studying, not in the field, reading, researching that way. In 2000 is when the first time I ever heard one. And once I heard it, that was it. I had to jump in the field, So,
yeah. What did you hear? Did you hear a vocalization?
Very much so. It was me. We had just moved to the mountains. Me, my mom, my dad, my sister. In Ruidoso, New Mexico. My mom worked, or still does, works for the Forest Department. And it was, I'd say, mid-afternoon. We got to our cabin, and we were towards the top of the peak of Ruidoso, near Alto. And we're just getting out of the vehicle, and we heard what sounded like, the best way I could compare it to anything is, have you ever heard anybody going from, like, say, 70 miles per hour and just slamming on the brakes? I've
done that before, probably.
Right? So,
oh yeah,
this sounded like somebody slammed on their brakes at the top of the mountain and continued skidding for like 30 seconds.
Wow, but could a car be coming down a mountain?
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to skid that long because there's no straight street to do that
right.
on. Like this. So it went, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We did that, we were just like, oh crap, and we heard it for a long, long time, just, and then a lot more. And it stopped. And when it stopped, there was no sound of birds or crickets or forest, anything. Of course, there's a car up the street, go by or something. But other than that, thing that was living just shut up, and we're like, what? And then it did it again. Same length of time. We're like, holy crap! My mom goes, what if it's Bigfoot? Just being funny, right?
Like, little did she know.
And I run inside the cabin. I jump on the computer. This is in 2000, so like the internet wasn't what it is today. And I was able to find Bigfoot vocalization recordings, and I found almost the identical call.
Did you?
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, imagine the lung capacity on those beings. It's massive. Yeah. Yep. Especially making a noise for that long. I mean, I've heard that too. I've heard a lot of vocalizations out in the mountains and in the field, and they're all a little different, but it's just that lung capacity. Like, you can't mistake that for any other creature out there.
Yep.
I don't think.
If you watch Thinker Thunker?
I love Thinker Thunker. Yes, that's a great YouTube channel, by the way. Everyone watching tonight, y'all go to Thinker Thunker. Yeah, he does a lot of analysis on videos, even like the Patty video.
He's a friend of mine, and I think his work's very important that he does, and he's a good explainer and teacher.
Explainer, yeah.
For people that don't know as much about it, and different types of body structures, but like he does a lot of the sound analysis. So it's one of the things he talks about is whenever it's what he thinks is a Bigfoot, because we're hearing the calls and he studies them, versus all the different human animal tones. Each one has a specific signature. So it just so happens that whenever it's a Bigfoot or claimed to be a Bigfoot call, and it doesn't register like no other animal,
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
saying about Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have had more than just, since then, you've had more than just hearing vocalizations. I came across you on, I believe it was D.A. Roberts' show, one night. And I know that you've been on Spaced Out Radio in the past with Dave Scott here, but I didn't see that until later after I'd seen you on D.A.'s show. And I was floored by some of the pictures that you were showing that night, some of the evidence that you've gotten, because, I'm not real big on showing a lot of evidence on my show, because if I don't see it, I don't really feel like I want to show it. Because there's a lot of that pareidolia, I think is what they call it. And
pareidolia, yep.
Yeah. And so it could be kind of discrediting sometimes, especially as a field researcher. And so I have to be very careful and mindful. But I saw your pictures and I was like, good Lord, those are some good pictures. And not only do you have Sasquatch evidence pictures, you have UFOs. You seem to be a magnet of high strangeness, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like anybody that's going to have any type of relationship with me in any way, just regular people too. I always let them know, that some weird stuff happens around me, so don't trip out if something weird happens around.
Yeah, you're at risk of getting probed. Okay, I'm just kidding. Bye. Yeah, ET stuff. But it's the pictures of I'd like to really have you talk about tonight a little bit about the tent. Okay. The tent Sasquatches, because someone sent me those pictures and it wasn't you. And this was a friend of mine. And he was like, you got to see these pictures. And I was like, oh man, I mean, they're pretty terrifying. So I actually have them here tonight. And I'd love to show them to our audience. Would you like to kind of tell us exactly what was going on and how you got these pictures?
Sure.
Okay.
It started off, I was doing a tattoo on a friend. And one of his friends watching, the tattoo, and he told his friend, hey, this is like the Bigfoot guy I told you about. And his friend, I call him Kenny, not his name, but just to watch
his identity.
Kenny said, dude, ain't no such thing as Bigfoot. You crazy. I collect elk antlers and and deer antlers up and down those mountains.
Oh, I would
Well,
love that.
I ain't seen no Bigfoot, nothing. He
Mhm.
was really young. So at most, he's done it for like 2 years, but it's really young.
Yeah.
Compared to how old I am, you know what I mean?
We're the same age. Okay.
First time I
Careful.
found, told him, get off my lawn, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I told him, I go, no, I got pictures of stuff, man, you ain't seen. And I go, you ever down to, I go, come up with me to an area I know where they're at. I go, and let me show you some things. I go, and if you can't explain them as possibly done by humans,
Mm-hmm.
give me the benefit of the doubt, or at least Bigfoot benefit of the doubt. And he was like, okay, dude. So
yeah.
we met up another day. We went to the mountains where I do a lot of research.
Uh-huh.
I started showing them the area and showing them structures and trees twisted and interwoven and just crazy stuff that you couldn't explain. And giant X's, of trees that only a crane could move. Like literally that
right.
huge X's. And he was just like, holy crap, And I got to a little farther down in the research area, and I said, want to see if they'll tree knock back to me? And they're like, what? And so I got a stick, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? I was like, listen. And then right up the mountain in front of us, we hear whack. He was like, and I was like, right? And I did it again. And they did it again. And now he's sitting down on the ground with binoculars looking in that direction, like, oh, because he's expecting to see Bigfoot's running around, And I took a picture of him doing that. And later when I got home and zoomed in, because that's how I do all my pictures, I zoom in and look around. There was, I believe, allegedly, were 2 baby Bigfoots in the tree,
I saw that picture, actually. Yeah. I don't have it tonight.
Oh, man.
It's a good picture, though.
Yeah. There's 2 little, it could be 2 little something else that are orangutan colored and have little toes.
Yeah. Is that common, though? Like, to see little, I've heard about little Bigfoots.
Oh, like about little Bigfoots.
Smaller ones. Yeah. Children, maybe?
Yeah, there's little baby ones and in between ones, and I've seen quite a few different versions of them. Yeah. But the cool thing about my mom working at the forest department was that they couldn't send anybody to do Bigfoot research because it's not supposed to exist, So
exactly.
but people do make reports of him, of Sasquatch, could be him or her or whatever. But then she'd let me know, whenever there was reports, and she would let me know where and what happened, what was reported, and then I would go do the research and investigation. And
so you had inside info. I like that.
Yeah, cool. And my sister, she was a police officer in Ruidoso, and they would get reports too of Bigfoots coming in the yards and all kinds of stuff. Same thing, they couldn't investigate because it's not supposed to exist, but they could tell me the story. So after I take the picture of him with the baby Bigfoots up there, not knowing that they were there, we go back to our campsite. Well, it's not a campsite yet. It was just where we parked. So we get there, and he tells me, dude, let's camp. Come on, let's camp out, right? And I was like, do you want to stay here overnight? I was like, you understand there's Bigfoots here. They're really big. And if they want to, they can grab your little head and go, Yeah. I was like, chimpanzees can kick our butts. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, you'll be an appetizer tonight.
Yeah. So he was like, yeah, I've got my tent. I was like, all right, you really want to? And then that's when I turned around and I filmed myself, yelling, "Hey, Bigfoot, what's up? Come on down. Say what's up." And it sounded silly, but I really was talking to them. And then that to me, I really want to make a Bigfoot laugh. Now that's weird, but I think that'd be cool to make a Bigfoot laugh, and I think that's the best way to show them that I am not in any way a danger to them, But I'm willing to entertain them.
Unless they die laughing. I'm just kidding.
Right? You never know. But so Yeah, but you think I'm nuts for the way I called them. We go into, set up the tent and everything. Nighttime comes, and then it's getting really late. Nothing's happened. It's after midnight, and then we hear footsteps coming real close to the tent, and then we hear at the bottom of the tent, like kind of behind where he was sitting. I was sitting by the zipper door, and he was sitting at the other end, and you hear something go like that, and then start sniffing, but it doesn't stop sniffing until it got to the top of the tent above us, which is over 6 feet high, and because I'm 6'3" and I could stand up in it, so it was easy 6'8", 6'7", I don't know, somewhere in that world. It was a pretty tall tent, and what you're seeing is me with a flashlight and two of the Bigfoots looking down from above down at my friend Kenny, and he was really freaking out. And the thing was, I wasn't taking pictures. This is actually screenshots from video, and I know I've got to be honest with exactly what it is, because I don't want people thinking that I'm lying or something. You know what I mean? But what happened was,
you have multiple pictures here too. I mean, there's multiple sides.
Oh, definitely. So the Bigfoot right here you're looking at, if you look carefully, you can see it's grinning. Okay, it's actually grinning. Teeth. Oh yeah, you can see teeth. And the nose isn't quite bulbous like the Bigfoot on the right. It's making the silly faces. So I think the Bigfoot on the left is, kind of laughing at the Bigfoot on the right, scaring the crap out of the Kenny. So right here, I mirrored the image of the Bigfoot on the left, so we could see what his full face would look like, possibly.
Smart. Yeah.
I don't know exactly the exact dimension where I should have stopped in and out to mirror it.
Yeah.
But that is where I'm guessing would look normal. I guess like a normal facial structure.
I mean, it looks good to me.
I had to study anatomy. I had to learn all this stuff when I went to college, so I have a good grasp of anthropology as well. So this is what I put together to show us. It's pretty clear that it's a face. It's not me mistaking shadows or nothing,
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely see them. Now, this is something different, okay? And it may be a little harder to see this one, but there's something that does not look like a Sasquatch in this picture.
No, it doesn't.
What is this?
I was going through the footage and doing screenshots and tilting my computer screen up and down because it was an old one, so it changed the contrast. And at the angle when I was in the tent, at the angle where I was sitting, I couldn't really see any of this stuff. Kenny was directly underneath looking up where I was lighting up with the flashlight. He could see, not me. So he was freaking out, and I was just sitting there like, haha. And so not till I got home and started, brightening the image and adding, the color, not adding color, contrast and saturation. That's the word, saturation. So it made all the colors, deeper. I saw this one and I was like, yeah, that doesn't look like a Bigfoot. And I brightened it more and saturated a little bit more, and the skin turned green and the eye turned red. And then you can
really the eye looks red. It does.
Yeah,
and
it's almond shaped in red. And so I did the mirror. You can actually see the left side a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you also kind of mirrored it so we can see it better.
Yeah, to see what the whole face looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a mouth, there's nose, holes, and eyes. It looks like a gray, but with green skin. It's like a reptilian. One of them.
You know what?
Not the Archon kind, but.
Yeah. Well, you know what I see in that? I see a mantis type. I see like a mantis type ET. In my opinion, it's similar to this kind of, but kind of insectoid, or maybe gray.
Those are real tall. The mantis ones.
Mantis are very tall. I've actually seen one in real life, and it was gigantic. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Okay, with those pictures. Now, how did you feel about that? what was your reaction to having Bigfoots above your tent and an alien?
At the time, I didn't know the alien was there, but I've seen them before, many at a time. I was having fun. I wasn't scared at all. I was more concerned with communicating with them and kind of letting them know what was going on in the area and watch out for certain things. And we talked a little history, and just saying everything that I'd ever want to say to a Bigfoot.
Yeah, trying to make it laugh.
Yeah, and they stuck around for a few hours and eventually left. I tried giving them oatmeal cookies, but I left them in the wrappers and put them outside so I could hear them crinkle them. They left them alone. They didn't mess with them. Before they stopped looking in the tent, one of them had stuck its arm underneath the tent and knocked over Kenny.
Yeah, and the ground was actually kind of moved around a little bit underneath behind your tent.
Yeah, you can see right there where it stuck his arm under, and I yelled at it, and I said, "No, bad Bigfoot!" And it pulled its arm out, and my friend, he was scared, like freaking out at the moment when he fell over, but the second I yelled at Bigfoot, it just like confused him, and he wasn't scared anymore. He just looked at me. He was like, "Did you just scold a Bigfoot?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna say. I ain't trying to piss it off,
Exactly.
Very threatening, going, bad Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, I think that's when your instinct just kicks in,
And it confused it, so God pulled the arm out. But that's when it stood up and looked down, peeled the top of the tent back, the vent hood cover.
Oh yeah.
So the reason why it looks weird, kind of, is because we're looking through a mesh screen. The mesh screen and because I'm doing the flashlight, it kind of distorts it a little bit, but you can see all of the folds and everything going on it. And
I'll pull that original picture back out because that's a great picture. I mean, there's two Bigfoot side by side. There's two faces right there.
Yep.
In your tent. I mean, it's pretty wild because when I've been out in the field at night, I like to camp kind of farther away from my team, and so I go out kind of by myself a little ways, and I have been awakened in the middle of the night from a dream where a Bigfoot was breathing in my tent, just like that, just like that picture that we just showed. But to me, it was a dream. But was it a dream? I don't know. Probably not. Yeah. So that's why those pictures are a little more terrifying for me. Not terrifying, but it's a little unnerving, considering I had that dream, when I was out in the field. Yeah. That happens. I mean, those were actually, they were not scared to come right up to your tent while you were awake.
Well, they've seen me tons of times before that,
Okay, so you're kind of regularly there.
I bring them offerings, not all the time, but every so often, I'll bring 50 pounds of bananas, or whole bunches, because I want to
bananas.
The Bigfoots are huge. One little banana, you know what I mean? And then if there's a whole bunch of them, they can get them and take them to their homies and share them with whoever. So I'll do that, or I'll do a crap load of apples, or what I mean, stuff that they can have. And like I said, not very often, and I don't do it at a specific time of the day, or nothing to where they can construe it as this is when it happens all the time, and when it stops, we're gonna kick your ass. It's right. But so they already knew me by how many times I've gone out there and spent hours out there and talking to them and doing calls and what I do. So it wasn't, they knew I wasn't there to hurt them.
Yeah.
And I invited them. Part of my research, it's really important to me that because there's so many different Bigfoot researchers out there that believe different things. Some think it's just a big old monkey. You know what I mean? Just Gigantopithecus, it's like an orangutan, Right. Giant. Some people think he's very mystical, and can disappear into dimensions. And some people think that's nuts. Some people think that, there's all these different groups of Bigfoot researchers. And my goal and belief from all my research throughout, Native American history and all the other histories around the world is I want to find evidence of it being more than just a ape,
Yes.
that it's close to us. It has language. It's a very smart being, you know, and they understand what we're doing, and a lot of them understand English now.
Yeah, I mean, you're familiar with the Sierra sounds, right?
Oh yeah.
From Ron Moorhead, and so I've studied those, and I've done a couple of shows about it, and you can hear archaic Japanese and
Samurai cat.
all sorts of different dialects, Native American dialects, and English, Spanish, German. You know, it's interesting, and it kind of makes you wonder: are these ancient beings that go back, you know, before humans?
Yep. And I think they are. I think they were the first ones that were created before us. From ancient lore and many different civilizations, tell of a group of beings that were created by the gods first. People could call them gods, they can call them aliens, who knows what they are, but they were somebody who did it. That they needed to work pretty much until the Gardens of Eden and whatnot, and that they became very unruly, and they couldn't control them. So they banished them, you know, to the depths of the forests of the world, and created us next. We were much smaller, lived way shorter lives, way weaker, but was smart enough to operate machinery and do the things we do today, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one of my theories, you know? And there's some of them, groups of them that really hate us and will eat us. And then there's the other groups of Bigfoots that want to take care of us and protect us. Because they've all been, that's the thing, as civilization has risen and fallen and risen and fallen and risen and fallen, they've been sitting there watching the whole time.
Yeah. Sitting back and hiding behind those trees.
Yeah.
In the shadows.
Honestly, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Yeah. So do you believe that? I know we were just talking about that, but you know, I see a more supernatural element to Sasquatch. You know, out in the field, the tracks just kind of disappear, the track lines, seemingly out of thin air, you know, and there'll be a flash of light, and you know, we end up with orbs floating around us at night when we're out in the field, and following us around the woods, and fog out there that seems to have like a consciousness to it, which is really weird, and all this weird supernatural stuff. And, you know, and I know you've experienced a whole variety of paranormal stuff. I happen to have experienced it while we're out doing Bigfoot research. Have you experienced other stuff while you were looking for Bigfoot?
I've seen UFOs a lot while I'm out, you know, doing Bigfoot stuff in many different states and cities and stuff that have gone to research the excuse me, you know, things being, but nothing's there, you know, sounds. I believe that there's Bigfoots that can do all that stuff. There's ones that can't.
I agree with that.
You know, some of them are on the level of like super duper medicine man status. They know how to manipulate our time and matter and dimensions and all that fun stuff.
They're magicians, right? Wizards.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's just that like humans, there's a lot of us that have special, unique abilities that a lot of others don't have, you know? And I still say that Bigfoot are just superhumans is what I believe they are. You know, they don't need half the stuff that we need to live, to survive. In sub-zero temperatures. With just how they are, you know, and walk through snow barefoot and don't get frostbite. They have superhuman strength. They're able to do sound resonance. What's that called? I forgot the darn word. I just do it. Infrasound. There you go.
Infrasound. Yes, infrasound.
I believe, you know, from what we study in the scientific realm with vibration, and also in the supernatural realm, this vibration. Why wouldn't a being that can do super everything, right? Has the vocal cord like no one on Earth, has Tinker Thinker will tell you that.
Yeah.
Why not have them be the ability to use that sound resonance to disappear?
Yeah.
If their hair, all their hairs vibrate a certain way. Who knows? That's why maybe there's so many blob squatch pictures, because they're doing that, and you just can't get a focus on it. Just in that spot, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's been I study alien abduction a lot, and there has been reports of Bigfoots and aliens being on ships when people are being abducted. So
yeah. There's a connection. I think a lot of this stuff is connected. If we're out there seeing orbs while there's Bigfoots calling to each other and triangulating around us, and portals are opening up and things like that, there's some kind of weird connection there. We're still trying to figure out what that is. But yeah, because you've experienced so much high strangeness throughout your life. Cat Chaser, thank you for that super sticker. We appreciate that. I want to get to some more of your pictures, okay, because you have a lot of stuff. And I figured maybe we'd show some of the tree structures here. Let me pull this up. And then we're going to get into your UFOs and your orb. Okay, so this is a really cool picture right here. You had some trees that have fallen over or have been placed.
Yeah. If you were actually there, you would see that these trees had been weaved in and out, almost like in the asterisk pattern. And when I was walking through there, I saw one behind me. Well, it was
you
in
saw
front
a
of
Bigfoot behind you.
First, it was in front of me, but that if I don't want it to, go like this, duck out the way or hide or whatever, I've got to pretend to see it. So I turned around and acted like I was just taking a selfie picture, but in reality, I was making sure I got it in the picture. So let me see if you can see. There's a close up of it in the back. It was watching me, and this is in the same area of where those Bigfoots were looking in our tank. It's the same exact area. Yeah.
Wow. Well, and you also have another picture here, and it's hard to see from the big picture, but when you zoom in, there's something there. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Let me zoom in even closer. Okay. There's actually something right behind that, kind of behind the tree.
Yeah, the big tree in the middle. You look to the left. There is what looks like a Bigfoot to me. Down on the ground, like cross-legged almost.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a great picture. Now, all right, there's something else that I had here that you sent me, and it has to do with a marking that's on the arm that you have actually pointed out on one of the pictures that you had, and something that was actually also on Patty's arm as well, from that very famous film, the Patterson-Gimlin film. Right. What do you think this is?
Well, to me, it looks like a branding. If it's a number 9 or a weird number 4 or a backwards P, I don't know what it is, or if it's a numerical symbol. But whatever it is, what it looks like, because like I said, I've been a tattoo artist also for over a quarter of a century now, and I've done all kinds of skin modifications and all that stuff, and I've seen keloid scarring.
Yeah.
This looks just like keloid scarring. Now, if you look on Bailey, that's the one we just showed you a second ago. I named her Bailey, or him. I think it looks like an old lady to me, but I named it Bailey because it's in
Bailey could be either.
Right? That's why it's perfect too. So I noticed on the arm, also on the same arm, the right arm, and the same placement, above the elbow, the same symbol. And it looks like a raised scar. Again, like a branding. And
that is interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty wild.
It makes you wonder.
From New Mexico all the way to California, why would they have the same branding on the same arm?
Yeah.
Far away from each other.
I think that's a good find. I mean, that's, it's just part of researching, we may never know, but you saw it and it's something to point out. And I think that's really interesting. I'd be interested to see if others have that on them.
Right. And all these years, have you ever heard any of the researchers talking about, hey, what's that on Patty's arm?
I mean, I've heard about her hair. She has a braid in her hair, and she has a satchel on. There's a whole lot of stuff, and maybe has, there's a lot of speculation around Patty and things like that. But yeah, and well, if Dogman, okay, and I know you live in New Mexico, right? But I hear there's a lot of dogmen down in Texas and just down in the Southwest. Yeah, well, they a lot of them reportedly are chipped and collared. Okay, so what if Bigfoots are branded like cattle in some way? I mean, it's sad to think, but who knows? Yeah, well, let's get to some of your UFO pictures, because you have UFOs following you around or something. I'm convinced. Okay, here's a picture. You're taking a selfie, right? You're taking a picture and happen to catch something in the background. Let's zoom in. That is really cool. That looks like a triangular craft in the background.
That's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, there's not too many triangular shaped craft flying around the area. You have private jets, airliners, and helicopters, which that's not the shape of any of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, would you like to show, let's see, let's show this one. It's a sunset picture you took. We'll zoom in a little bit. And that's an interesting shaped craft right there that you caught.
To me, it reminds me of the old-timey bathtub. You know, the porcelain ones with the legs. That's what it looks like to me, but what else could it be, yeah. Doesn't look like
I have no idea, but it's
unidentified.
It is
an object.
It is, and you have more too. This is actually a really cool one, and this is a kind of more far away shot. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in up here. It looks like a tent or something. It almost looks like a catering tent for a wedding, floating in the air. Where was this? Was this in New Mexico?
Also in New Mexico, above White Sands Missile Range and White Sands National Park.
Okay. That's an awesome catch right there. Now I want to go next to your orb picture. Okay, you have a really awesome orb shot. And I take pictures of orbs sometimes, and they often have faces in them, or what appear to be faces, but I've never been able to zoom in quite like you did. And so here's a shot with no orb in it. And then
the orb is actually, if you go back to that other one.
This one? Oh, is it in there? Oh, okay. I see it up high, actually.
Yeah, you look at the moon and then go straight down. You hit the orb. That's the after shot. The next one is the first picture. That's the second.
Okay. And then we're going to kind of zoom in a little bit there. And then we're going to zoom in again. And then we're going to super zoom. Check that out. That is just strange right there.
That's also adding a lot of contrast and dark. It took away all the, I guess, the glare of the glowing of, and this is, it's left. Like I said, this has been enhanced and sharpened and all that stuff. But I haven't changed anything. I've just, adjusted, like I said, contrast and all that stuff. But that was there.
That's awesome. I like that. That's a really cool picture.
It's just mad because it's sticking its tongue out at me.
What's it? Let me go back and look.
Or,
do you think ghosts have tongues? They probably do.
Apparently.
You're just big lips. It got some lip injections or something.
Is one of those Kardashian challenges or whatever.
Totally. It's got to look good in the afterlife, Yeah. Well, you also in the area where you live down in the Southwest, that's known for giants, okay, and a lot of history of giants. And you and I were kind of talking about that before the show tonight. What is it? Is it Lovelock Cave? Is in Nevada, not too far from where you live. And there's just been a history of giants, and I've been looking into giants quite a bit lately. So, is there any history around where you live? You're familiar with? Yeah,
there was it was an old newspaper clipping of a area in New Mexico, I guess more lower New Mexico, there was a 12-foot skeleton found. And
wow.
yeah, it was like, it's, you know, those old 1855 or 1860s newspaper clippings that talk about wild man was, you know, seen or chased.
Yes.
Or, giant bones were found and all that. So yeah,
I got pictures here.
Oh yeah, see, and that one right there is to me, it looks like a Bigfoot. That doesn't look like just like a giant person. Look, it looks like a damn Bigfoot. The hair and everything, and the structure of the face. The top of the
yeah, you know, I've never looked at it like that before, but yeah.
You know, and it's a female, and there is females that big in Sasquatches. See, this is one of the things I'd love you to do. All the people out there watching, when you get a chance, go on to Google, all right, and you're gonna go Google images. Then you're gonna type in sighting map United States or wherever you would choose to, but I would just say do the United States sighting map of giant bones that have been found.
Oh,
save that picture. Then you type in the Googleator sighting map of Bigfoot. You know, sighted up on that map. Okay, same sighting map, same United States thing.
Yeah.
Then you type in the Googleator again, but this time you type in UFO sighting map. Okay. Now.
And cave systems too, by the way. It all lines up. And deep underground military bases.
They all match. And what drives me crazy about the giant research society out there, okay, if you're listening out there, I want you, it obsesses
you.
Yeah, they don't want to touch Bigfoot. One, don't know why. They might slightly touch Bigfoot, okay, but when they're talking about the giant bones that they're finding, then they're always like, oh, there was just a giant Indian or a giant Viking, and it's like, why aren't you guys, thinking possibly it's a Sasquatch bone? Everybody says we've never found one Sasquatch bone, but right there where you saw the Sasquatch, we found this big mound and some big ass bones.
It's some giants, right?
Yeah.
But human giants, right?
And that's the thing though. If you look at that picture of that Bigfoot, if you shave off the Bigfoot's facial hair, like David Paulides had that sketch done, and we digitally do it now, they look like my cousin. They look like big old native dudes. Yeah. So, just because people don't believe in Bigfoot or they're scared of touching that subject and feel they'll be ridiculed in their circles, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think a whole lot of those skeletons that have been found were Bigfoots. You know what I mean? And the fact that there's a bunch of stories throughout all South America, North America, and many other places of Bigfoots and humans mating together, and having children.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't there be human-looking skeletal systems of giants, of their mammy and pappy who are 12 feet tall, 10 feet tall? Just saying, not all of them. There were some the big ones like us that look like us too, giants, but not all of it's different ones, different types. It just bugs me that nobody dinner.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I did an interesting show on a remote view Judah Cullah, who is a giant, a Cherokee giant out in North Carolina. And he had him a human girlfriend, okay. but I picked up that he was more of like he's supposed to be like a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And so he was just a giant Bigfoot, I guess. But yeah, he kind of was mating with a human female, and that's a local legend over there.
Well, remember Lovelock? What happened there? Do you remember? Mm-hmm. They were getting the girls pregnant, and then when the baby would come to term, they would kill the moms and then eat them.
The mothers?
Yeah,
I haven't heard that. That's wild. I believe it. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was more than them just, we don't like them.
Yeah.
we're gonna bring you out your cave. It was like, no, they were cannibals and they were eating their people.
Yeah. I knew they were cannibals. I did hear that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew they were cannibals, which it makes you wonder because I've looked into the giant of Kandahar in Afghanistan as well, and those were cannibals. So, but you know what? I also was picking up that they had human DNA and all this kind of stuff. And so when you say cannibals, they're eating these giants are eating humans.
Yeah.
And so that classifies them as a cannibal because they have human DNA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they're just really big.
Yeah, there's some huge Bigfoots up there. I haven't showed you, but I have a picture of what I believe to be between 15 and 20 feet tall. Okay, a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It was in the Madrid mountains, and those trees that the picture is in are juniper trees, and they grow about 12 feet tall, 8 feet to 12 feet tall. And the Bigfoot that we have the picture of is sitting down, they're kind of cross-legged.
Mm-hmm.
And the tallest tree next to it only came up to the shoulder. It's sitting down. An 8 to 12 foot tall tree comes up to its shoulder.
Wow.
So how big is it? You know what I mean?
That's a big.
Yeah.
A big guy. Yeah.
Alaska, they like kind of once they hit that height, 20 feet and above, they don't call them Bigfoots no more. They call them trolls and stuff. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So there's stories of them being 25, 30 feet tall, giant beings out there in the serious wastelands of the frozen areas.
Yeah. In Alaska has big ones. At Portlock, and they were also eating humans as well. So we do have a question from the audience tonight. Someone named Dave Scott is wondering if he can ask you how you keep such a perfect lip blade. He may or may not have a man crush on you, I guess. I don't know. Hey, Dave, thank you for being here. That's our friend Dave Scott right there. So yeah. That's awesome. Yes, but there are humongous giants and humongous Bigfoots in all over, especially in Alaska. The ones I've looked into are huge. Yes. Bigfoot Society. I have not remote viewed the Bluff Creek film yet. I have been asked that 2 or 3 times this week by separate people to do that. That is a very touchy subject. There's a lot of controversy surrounding the Patty film and what happened there. And so I don't know for sure. I don't know if I'm prepared to remote view that yet. We'll see. But thank you for asking. That is on my list.
If the things that were going on that were said to be going on, that's very controversial. I wouldn't want to remote view that.
Well, from what I hear, it's not pleasant. And so I don't know. And a lot of people, it's very controversial and people get very upset about it. And I'm not ready to put that out to the public yet, if that was the case. You know what I mean? There's just, there's a lot of sadness and crazy chaos in this world right now. And we don't need to stir that up any worse than it already is. So, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, and also that brings up a good point. I mean, I feel like a lot of history has kind of been a lie. Jesus, what do you think? I mean, not that it's all been a lie, but I think that a lot of the things we've been told are not the full truth, especially about the giants and Bigfoot and the ETs. I mean, where do you stand on all that?
Well, where I stand is I believe we've been hoodwinked.
Heck yeah, I think so too.
Major way, in a decisive way.
Mm-hmm.
A specific history has been put forth to us, and possibly even the year is off. A lot of research, possibly 1,000 years, has been made up. Right now, it wouldn't be 2022; it'd be actually 1,000 years, behind.
Yeah.
But the reason of that supposedly is because of this reset that happened only a few hundred years ago. Everything was completely different. All the societies were completely different. There was free energy. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on that they haven't said and that we're finding out as we dig deeper and deeper in the ground, in the dirt. So yeah, I think that there's been a whole bunch of stuff made up, a whole bunch of stuff they're hiding from us. There's even a lot of the monuments that are out there, a lot of ancient ones that, if you look at pictures from the actual dates when they found them, and then you look at them now in tourism pictures, they're not the same. They've been changed, they've been built, they've been prepared, and maybe they say they didn't. They've always been the way they look, haven't been touched, but for those reasons, and that happening over and over, certain monuments being destroyed, tons of huge, beautiful cathedral-style buildings quickly destroyed.
And you're talking about the mud flood too, right? You're kind of referring to the mud flood, which I've been hearing a lot about lately.
The mud flood, it was a worldwide phenomenon, and there's whole cities buried. Like there's cities, you drive the streets on, and they had a pipe burst, and they had to dig, down with big and stuff and dozers, and they dig down, and they're finding out that there's a whole nother half of a house or a whole nother half of a building that's there, and those windows that are only this tall that are by the sidewalk when you walk by, turn out they're full-size windows and doors.
That's wild.
And
it's almost like the Easter Island statues, how they're halfway buried.
Interesting. They're buried too. So around the world.
Everything why?
Well, that's what happened, right? Right. Was it a flood that caused all that? There's been a few rumors of floods in some ancient books. History. If you look at pictures of the Aztec temples and the Mayan temples, when they first found them, they were all covered in mud and dirt and trees. About 200, 300 years growth worth of it, The world, if you go to all our forests, only this many forests, trees are over 200 to 300 years old. Why is that? It's like they all started growing at the same time. And just only a few survived of our old ancient trees.
Good point. Yeah.
The list goes on and on about why our histories have been sadly lied to, to us, and just very few of our remaining civilizations out there have the oral traditions passed down on what that used to be, but very far and few between, and only the powers that be and the quote unquote Illuminati and whatnot.
Right.
The true history of Earth and what's really going on.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we've had a timeline shift or something. I had a guest on, Frank Jacob, who is amazing. He is my resident expert on CERN, and he lives in Germany, by the way. And and he came on the show a while back, right the weekend before CERN was cranked back up, and we talked about the tale of two timelines and the timeline split, and maybe all this has something to do with that, because I've never heard of any of this mud flood stuff until recently. Perhaps we're on a new timeline, and the truth is being.
Well, the whole Mandela effect is actually supposed to be a result of the CERN project, but we got to remember as well. See, from what it looks like to me, from what people are researching and finding, CERN points to a lot of bad stuff and opening a door that we don't need opened, and they're going to be opening the door, releasing something really not cool on Earth. Did he talk about the CERN that was built before that CERN?
I don't know. We were just talking about the CERN in Switzerland, the one. I mean, we have CERN. We have hadron colliders all over the world. We have some in the South. Here.
Who had one in the 40s? It was 7 miles around.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
Wow. No, who's that?
Hitler.
Oh yeah. Well, of course they probably had that kind of technology. I'm sure that's where it came from.
Adolf was obsessed with the supernatural world. He was looking for the Holy Grail. He was looking for all these different things to harness power to become the leader of the world. And one of the things he was doing was the same project, to open up doors,
portals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in 2012, everybody was like, "Oh my God, the Mayans said it's the end of the world." And 2012 came and gone, and they're like, "Man, them Mayans are stupid. We're still here." Well, the Mayans never said that. That's not what our calendar said.
Right.
Our said was that we were going to be entering a new dimension, a new age, into Aquarius, and that only so many people on Earth are going to raise that to the fifth dimension with vibration, and only a certain amount of people on Earth are going to start seeing things that we haven't seen before. We're going to be seeing way more supernatural beings and things in the sky that a lot of other people won't be able to see. They literally just can't see it because their vibration didn't qualify. I don't know.
Well, that's because we got to get our vibrational frequencies as high as possible. Don't live in fear, y'all. Yep. Have fun, live in love. Okay. And Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, I was going to say, I just want to thank you for being here tonight because we've run out of time, and this conversation is awesome. We're going to have to do this again, and I would love for you to come back. Sure. Before we go tonight, you have a new series about it's called Breaking Dead. Am I right?
Yep, Breaking the Dead.
Tell us about it right quick.
Okay, so I have a comic book and a movie being made called Breaking the Dead. It is the fan theory that Breaking Bad is in the same universe as The Walking Dead. And I have kind of brought it to life and added the cool, fun idea that Breaking Bad not only is in the same universe, but actually caused The Walking Dead. Yeah.
Oh, the plot thickens. The plot thickens. And so everyone, please go subscribe to Breaking Bigfoot on YouTube if you haven't already. Is there anywhere else people can find you, Jesus?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. You can just type in Jesus Jr. 2012 after any of those, slashes, after the website. Same thing on Twitter. They're all the same. So you can find me all those places, and on YouTube, Breaking Bigfoot. You can see my adventures of doing my research into Bigfoot and some UFO videos too.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even get into all your pictures tonight. We had so much more we could have talked about, and I knew this hour would fly by. It always does. So we're gonna take this up with a part 2 soon. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, Jesus, thank you so much for being here tonight. You're an awesome guest, and
awesome
thank you. Yes. Awesome. We'll see you next time. Okay. All right. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. All right, y'all. That was awesome. Let's see. Don't forget, right after this show, you can join me. Not join me. I'm not going to be there, but join the After Hours crew. They're going to take you on an incredible journey for the next 3 hours. Next week on Off the Trails, my guest will be Kentucky native Barton Nunnally. We're going to be talking about the Inhumanoids, and I can't wait to see y'all then. But for now, I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones. I'm headed off the trail, and After Hours is next. I hope you guys have a great week and a great night. Bye.